alcoholism.
Don't tell them. Don't say that. You didn't have
Well,
it.
do you know what? No. Okay. Tell me when we're live, and I will
We
actually
are
say
live
this on.
actually. We're live.
Right.
Now
So
they'll
I
know there's
guess
a secret backstage.
the secret. So the real. I was about to say. I think part of the issue, right, is what an American would determine an alcoholic is a much lower threshold than from British folks.
Is that good?
I think the problem is sometimes like I've heard Americans say, "Oh my God, that's really like you're an alcoholic," and I'm like, that person's just a social drinker. And I think sometimes labeling behaviors as alcoholism when that's not really what's going on is not helpful.
Well, I mean, there is
Like,
a question like, what do you label? At what point is someone considered an alcoholic? I'm not asking that to be a joke. I am
you know,
curious. Like, what is the definition of that?
I would say if you have to drink to function, that then you're an alcoholic, and that might be to function in a context, right? Like if you can't be at a party and not have a drink, that's a problem. But I guess when it no longer becomes a choice, right?
That's kind of been my vibe about it. It's not. I mean,
Yeah.
if you drink a lot in one day, like in other words, that's a good question. If I binge drink one day
Mm.
a month, am I an alcoholic? And again,
If
this
you
isn't like a challenge. I'm curious.
no.
Like
So
what do we
I
think
would
about
say
that?
I would say if you are binge drinking on a day of the month because of an external context, let's say
Well, it's the third.
that's I don't know, no, more something like that's the day that I don't know. I'm trying to think
You're talking
what
about
could be
Cracker Barrel.
happening.
Yeah. No, I
I
never drink though.
I
I don't
feel like
drink at all. That's why I'm curious.
if it's like there can be a link between two things, right? Like, oh,
Hmm.
I'm in this situation, I'm chatting with my friends, I like to have a drink, right?
Okay.
However, if it's
Alcoholism
I
situation.
cannot chat with my friends unless I have a drink in my hand,
Hmm.
that's the problem. And
Hmm.
but that could happen at different levels, right? So it
Hmm.
could be that you could be doing it once a month, you could be doing it every day. Um, it's when it's no longer a choice.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so I feel like what we're saying is that alcoholism is not a hard line. In other words, it's not
No,
like measles. I have the measles or I don't have the measles. Even though technically
yeah,
that's kind of a gentle line of how much of a virus there must be. But you can say like you have it or you don't. COVID, I have it or I
yeah.
don't. But alcoholism is kind of like because that's what I'm saying. I'm like if you it also depends on
So
like
I
there's how
drank
much
a
you
lot
drink,
last
there's
night,
how
everyone.
long
That's why
you're
we're having this
drinking for.
conversation. Gemma went and drank a lot last
She
night.
did. Gemma partied hard,
I partied hard. Um, but if
but
I chose to, right? Like if it was like, oh, I don't fancy it, I wouldn't do it, you know?
yeah, if they
And
were like, oh hey, we got a lot of ginger ale, you wouldn't be like, where's the fucking wine?
exactly. Or they're like, they've run out of wine, like I wouldn't be there going like, we have to get in the
Yeah,
car
what
and
we
get more
need
wine,
to
we
get
can't continue. Like
wine.
it's not but and I've said before, like I've many times just given up alcohol and it hasn't featured as a problem. There's been no point when I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna drink it. Like during COVID, I think the first lockdown, it was really sunny and it was really nice to sit outside with a nice cold glass of white wine. But then when winter came and we went to second lockdown and I was like, adding alcohol to this experience is not going to end well. So,
I
because
think
that's
it does
alcohol heightens emotions,
if
right?
you're the person
Positive
who drinks
and
it.
negative.
I
And I
again
was
I don't.
like, yeah.
Go ahead. No,
So anyway,
I
so
don't think
I
it's
made a
bad to
conscious
be the one
decision
who
to be like,
brings the
I'm not
alcohol.
drinking, and I didn't drink, and it was easy to not drink. It wasn't a problem.
But I think it depends. Like, it depends on like how much you drink, like and how often you're doing it. That's the other thing.
Mm.
Like if it's Saturday night and everyone's hanging out to watch football or do watch the game, whatever the game is for you, and you bring some alcohol for everyone to have, like I think that's cool. If it's like noon on a Tuesday and it's my, what's a thing people do? And it's like a matinee film and you need to sneak like a
Yeah.
flask of whiskey in to get through that film. All right, now maybe you're at a point where you have something of a problem. I'm quiet compared to I'm just full of love and respect for Gemma's volume.
No,
Yeah,
I mean, alcohol is unhealthy and not good for you. And, obviously, if you're not drinking,
huh.
you shouldn't start. It's not something to get
Yeah,
into.
the gain's been turned down on this mic. I don't know why. It was like
Uh,
minimal. Very
huh.
strange. Hopefully I'm
But you know, and I can segue this into mahjong. This is going to be so smooth, and everyone's going to be so impressed. So, alcohol's obviously been a big problem in the mahjong community in Japan.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Be
Oh man, that's a lot
yeah,
better
I
for me
mean,
even. I even like that better.
yeah, yeah, mahjong and alcohol just went together. Mahjong and smoking went together, and it's taken a lot of time for that
There we
connection
go.
to be broken. Like now, it's easy, right? Now people go to the dojo and to other healthy mahjong places, and there's no cigarette smoke, there's no alcohol.
No, it's great.
But when I first went to Japan, like that's what happened. You sat there and someone was trying to give you beer. Everyone was chain smoking. And then quite a few of the professionals, the older professionals, got sick with the expected diseases you get from drinking too much alcohol, and not just smoking. Some of them didn't even smoke, but getting the secondhand smoke, right? Um,
Yeah, I mean, it's not a very good environment to be in. It doesn't feel good when you're. I mean, I guess because I don't like smoking, I don't smoke. So being in a smoke-filled room is like unpleasant. It's not so
yeah.
bad if people are drinking a little bit, but I don't know. I've been because I feel like I hit the tail end of that when I started playing and started going to Japan. Like I went to a few Janso with people that were really like smoky, alcoholic kind of
Yeah.
hives. But at least my experience within the dojo has been very very. Uh,
Yeah, so the old dojo,
yeah,
the
you
one in
mentioned the old
Yotsuya,
one was not.
yeah, it was just you'd like stick your hand on the wall and it'd come back black with like third hand smoke. Um,
Do we have a game? Do
but
you have a game you want to look at? By the way, we
well,
can
we
bring
were gonna
something up.
go through yours with Yamai's notes, right?
Oh, let's do that. Let's do that because my game I gave to you so long ago. Yeah, let's see. Let's see what we got.
And I mean, I'm
Here's
just loading up the
yeah.
comments he
Do you have
gave
the
as well.
link?
So we are. No, God, do I have the link? I will get you the link.
Okay. Yeah, we got
Wait a minute.
notes. We got notes.
Yeah,
I'm
I
psyched for
should have
this.
probably prepared it, but I didn't because I was
All
too
these notes.
busy.
Maybe this is why
So now
my.
alcohol is not letting me function because I should have been doing this, but instead I was out drinking bottles of wine.
Uh, I'm thinking like maybe Yamai's notes are all. That's why he's like looking at me. Uh, Piteously while I was there and was like, "Oh, Dave, maybe there's something good you can do because your mahjong is trash."
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Right. Okay. Let me get this link over to you.
Oh man, I can also show off what I did. I'm gonna show this off actually because this is just cool. Let me find it. Here it is. I'm gonna shrink it down so everyone can do it. So in honor of all the work that was done finding and trying to win one of our most elusive Yaku. Um, I spent some time. I'm gonna bring this up. I spent
Yeah.
some time with
Did you do our advertising already?
what?
Did you like
Oh
advertise
yeah,
our
yeah.
stream that you
I did
like?
that. I
We
did that
did
while you
that.
were talking
Wow.
about stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went and I attempted to use AI to make images. Um, so this is our representation. This is a cool guy named Ryan Payco, the most popular kid in school. That we were trying to do so that we could have.
Why
Um,
does Ryan pick? Oh, 'cause you said cool guy,
yeah,
right?
he's a
So
cool
he
guy.
gets
That's
to
why
wear
I said it's
sunglasses.
freaking Ryan Payco, man. It's a really cool Yaku. You know, he goes to another school though. He doesn't really
What's
hang
really
out with me.
interesting is that they've put school uniforms on three of them. And I would have imagined that most of the stuff that was being fed into this
I
was
don't know.
American
Upper left doesn't
culture.
seem to have a school uniform.
Top left, no, that's the school sweater,
No,
no, and a
I
and
don't
a
think.
shirt. Do people wear shirts like? Okay, fair enough. Right.
Not
The two at the
necessarily. It
bottom are
could
definitely
be. Yeah,
uniforms.
bottom left looks like, or at least it's a school jacket. But wearing the tie at the school, that looks like a very school uniform. Bottom right also, that looks like a private school kid that has to wear. I feel like
Yeah,
in the
it
private
has to have
schools,
over shoulders.
it's not necessarily that you have to wear a uniform, but you have to wear like a shirt and tie in a lot of private schools. Like you have to dress up to spec,
Yes.
but there's not
See,
like a
Charles
hard
British is
uniform.
like
Let's
top
look.
left looks like the modern uniforms they like. 'Cause they don't want
Mmm.
to put, if you put the ties on, then British school children, being the bullying little shits we are, tend to kind of choke each other with them. So
It just seems dumb to make a kid wear a tie. Maybe I'm weird. It just seems dumb to make a kid wear a tie.
I think ties are dumb anyway.
I like ties actually. I really like ties because
But
ties.
that's a
No,
there's hardly any ability for men to show their flair
yeah, the tie
in
is
like
the flare
men
point of your
uniform.
outfit, and it's nicely placed.
Right.
This is your flare here. This is your tie. This is your exciting thing you get to put in your suit. I
I
like
just
that.
think
I think it's
men
fun.
could just have flair all over, and they don't have
No,
to
that's
limit themselves to
illegal.
the time. That's
It's
illegal. Right?
it's
Okay.
unbounded flair. No, we got to do the whole weird like friggin' American Psycho. We all compare our ties and get really like competitive and standoffish about it.
Yeah.
Look, men need fashion that's designed to just make us look like cylinders and ties.
I don't think you're going to become a prompt engineer with this kind of Slack prompt, though.
Okay, what do
You
you
need
want?
to try
You want to
harder.
do one?
I'm just trying to think. Like the prompts are you like usually really, really long, right, and specific.
Wait, no, where'd my thingy go?
Like, can't you say like a cool guy named?
Oh, I had this one too. I liked this one. The kind of player who likes Red 5. I was leaving it up to
Uh,
the AI as to what they thought of Red Fives. I wasn't going to inject my biases, but I
but you've got
really
to include the
like.
word mahjong, right?
No,
So,
no, no.
okay,
As soon as you include mahjong, it gets real confused. There
interesting.
was a Kickstarter that came up. That like here. Wait, let me see if I can. Let me find this Kickstarter for you, because it's interesting. And here, wait, this guy, this guy. I can just open a new thingy and go there. Here, no, just go to the URL, please. Now you all know that I searched Google. This thing, this. So this is a 3-in-1 mahjong. This is a Kickstarter about a mod. Whoa, hold on. To be fair, Zaps, the tie should not be a personality substitute. The tie is a piece of accentuation and customization. But you're right. People who wear like weird personality ties are weird. I
It's
agree with
just
that.
American Psycho,
Now,
no?
if your tie is like too bizarre or like wacky and you're like wearing a full suit, you're like, but look at my wacky, crazy tie to show how wacky. It's like, no, you're just dumb. You're just dumb. The tie is your point of color,
God,
accentuation, and maybe
boys
a
are
tasteful
super
yet subtle
catty.
pattern. Yeah, the Red 5. I love how Red 5 was like included in this. How it tried to find ways. I like that its default like advertising style was like 1950s movie poster kind of
Uh,
and
do you
then
know, it looks, I don't know, it looks kind of communist, the one on the bottom right
the
now.
one on
I
the
don't know if
bottom.
that's the
Yes,
hat.
yes, yes. Share Red 5s with others. Our Red 5s are
Yeah.
communal. Yeah, no, the outfit that guy's wearing is a little weird. Um, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't know what it thinks about this, but I'm a big fan of the cool guy Ryan Payco. He's my favorite now. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
so this 3-in-1
bullshit.
mahjong deck. Um, First of all, I don't really like this project because what I don't like about this is all the art in this is AI generated. And they just had someone look at it, and then they go through a lot of like I'm reading this. I'm like, it's a good thing you're based in Hong Kong because a lot of the stuff you're writing about like, uh,
Why would you AI generate the art? Why
because it's
wouldn't
cheap.
if you
Because then you don't have to pay an artist.
but then why would you subscribe to a Kickstarter where the art is just cheap?
I don't know. Because it still looks pretty cool if you just fuss with it enough, you can get something that looks cool. You talk about divination, like the deck is a divination tool. I'm like, is it?
I
Is it
have seen
really?
Mahjong Divination. Yeah, I have seen it. I have seen it.
Eastern Legend Birds theme, revolutionizing traditional mahjong. Traditional mahjong sets are known for their bulky tiles and the awful noise they make, but with these cards, you don't get any. I don't know. I'm not
I'm
thrilled
with
with
you,
this
Chirel.
set.
I do not like AI art. It's not art. It can't be art because it can be
It's
a
flawed.
graphic. It's AI graphics. I don't think it's art.
Anyway, you got all these tiles. What? But here, if you look at the video, if you look at the video, um, this is what AI thinks mahjong is. This is an AI generated video for 1000% sure. Because this weird, confused thing is what you get whenever you talk to an AI about Mahjong.
It looks like a
Um,
dream. It's really trippy.
yeah, it's really, really weird.
I mean, it'll fix itself and give
And
it
like
6 more
this
months.
too, like this is more Mahjong imagery generated by AI. And
This, yeah,
it's like
sparrow
watching it try to
again.
make hands. It's like it has a vague idea what it should be, but it doesn't really know. And it's very strange. It's very strange.
I mean, yeah,
Anyway, that's
he's.
my AI.
I don't know. AI. Do you know, I also object to the fact they've just fed it stuff and
Oh yeah,
not
yeah.
got
They
any of the
just fed
artist
things
permissions.
to it.
I don't know how that's legal. You know, we go on and on and on about copyright, and then they do that, and you're like, well, everything's fair game then,
How do
surely.
I change this to be the desktop one? Is it 4? No. is it 2?
I just don't understand why you would pay for AI art. Why would you pay for it?
Because it's cheaper than paying a real artist.
I don't know. Maybe because I don't know if people are looking at Twitter and there's been localization / translation. The culture wars hit us, right? and and for some reason, the poor localizers or translators are on the hard end of it now. And I don't know, like you look at so lots of the games companies are saying, well, we're going to use AI translation now because it's cheaper. It's cheaper.
Mm.
And do you know, I'm not a total Luddite. I think for a lot of translation needs, it can be quite useful. I think that especially if it's a tool, which I've used machine translation to help me with my work, and it's a great tool to make sure that everything is accurate. That I can get a lot more through with a machine helping me and prompting. Anyway, and then they said they were going to get whole games translated, and I was like, oh God, like anything story wise, and it will start because it can't feel anything, right? And if you're translating something and you're reading something, you have all of those emotions, and you try to make sure that that is conveyed in your translation, so that whoever's reading in English will have the emotions that were intended by the author.
Right.
And there's different ways to get to that. And there's definitely a current trend in localization that I'm not a big fan of, where they put very kind of what they think are like edgy internet jokes in.
I've heard about this a little bit, yeah.
I don't agree with that unless that's the brief. I mean, sometimes that is the brief, right? We want it to be hitting this market, therefore we
Yeah.
want this kind of text.
Well, but the problem is a lot of times that is a market, because the market is like the fan sub people and the people. I
Yeah.
don't know if I like
So
this at all.
I don't know what market some of these texts that people were yanking up and complaining about were. I don't know the market, and I don't know what the translator was told. But what really got to me in the end was that the kind of takeaway was that they thought that the localizer, who's at the very bottom of this chain, had this power over the text. And I'm like, any change I've made in a localization context has had to be, that's been authorized or directly requested by the client, the person who owns the game, and or the legal department has come along and said, well, we can't do this, we can't use that word. There's copyright issues, or so, especially for game titles, that has to be passed by legal, or main character names, it might be that we just can't use it because it's too close to something that someone else has already done in the past. And so it has to be changed. And then they're like, but you changed this and you changed that. And you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, I didn't do it. Like, you think I have that much control? Like, I wish I had that much control.
They
I'm at
imagine
the
that they just
bottom rung.
hand the game to you and they're like, make a local copy, and you just do it, and you're like, done. And they're like, cool.
Yeah,
We'll
no, exactly. And it gets passed by teams of testers who are also having the same brief. It's just. Anyway, your games are likely going to be AI translated. And I'm going to tell you right now, you won't get the same, if you won't get the same story as if you had a translator who was really caring about making sure you had the same I can't give you the same, a comparable experience to if you had been able to read it in the native Japanese.
Comparable. No, I don't think AI can do as well. I don't think AI can ever really do as well.
It can't think. It's just guessing. I don't even like the way they call it intelligence.
It's not quite guessing. It's like intuiting. It's remembering. It's reproducing what generally comes later. But
I mean, I guess that's why I like machine translation. I think that's a better version.
Yeah, I agree.
Because and then that's a tool, right? A machine translation is a tool for a human translator to sort of work with. And yeah, I think it's a good thing because, the translation industry has just boomed. There's just more and more text to translate. And there's only X number of people who can translate. So having machines help us pump through more of that text is a good thing. But you have to slow down when it comes to stories.
Well, I think when it comes to anything that really relies on nuance as opposed to just like literalism, like, yeah, you could probably pump the manual for a bicycle, a bicycle repair kit through an AI and get me something that I can understand to be able to use a bicycle repair kit. Cool, this works. But yeah, things with emotion, things with nuance, things with, like, you're not going to get the human touch unless you have a human at least finish it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so here's my game.
Right.
I did it. I drew all the mahjong tiles, and this starting hand.
The first comment.
Just Dave's fucking face. It just says Dave
on the third discard.
On the third discard. All right, let's see. So I swap east for north, sure. I throw the Haku here because East and South are valuable to me, but Haku's for everyone, so I chuck Haku early, and I have my cool Ipeko possibility, but the dealer grabs it, which makes me sad. Now here, with the 4, I throw the South.
No, I
Now,
think actually it must be can't be that one. I'm
oh, but this is
confused.
my second. It looks like my second because that Haku gets grabbed, so it's possible that it was labeled
Yeah.
the third. Because I don't think this is too crazy. This doesn't seem insane to me. I
No.
guess I could have. The only thing I'm thinking of is I could have flattened out the 1-so, but I don't. But I just throw the hots as is.
Right. That's the problem.
Really?
Hmm.
I
High
guess in
index.
theory,
Hmm.
high index, it would be a micro optimization, I guess, to throw the East instead of the hots because hots hasn't come out at all. But East did come out once, so I have a slight possible chance of getting another hots more than I have a chance of East. So if I'm valuing every tile carefully, it is correct to keep the hots over the East.
Yeah, that's exactly the comment was that you should cut the yeast. It just came out. And also, which is what I think is interesting, he said, well, the dealer has called the white dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say you throw the green dragon, he calls that, you might have been setting them up for a big three dragons, a
True.
Daisangen.
True.
Which I'm like, really? Do people actually worry about Daisangen? Because I
Well,
don't. I
the
would
thing about
never
this is like I
Daisangen.
do feel like this falls under what I would call micro optimizations because it's true that the Hots has a slightly better chance of ever coming to me than the East does. The East just came out and the dealer didn't grab it, so the East is good. See, I now think of that East as a safer tile for later, which is part of why
Oh,
I'm thinking I can hold it now.
uh, but it's double Han
For the dealer.
the
Yeah,
dealer.
so maybe now's the
Yeah,
right time to dunk it, and I think that's important. These are real facts. They are dealing with many edge cases, but they are real
yeah.
facts. Like it is better, I think, to throw the East. I cannot disagree with that.
Right, it's back to
Um,
micro optimizations, which we keep
yeah.
talking about, right? Like all of the tiny micro optimizations over all of your games will give you results.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. This time around,
Marsha,
and these things don't work every time. You know, like this time around, yeah, the dealer doesn't have hots and we move on.
yeah,
But some game out there, the dealer's going to have hots.
yeah,
Some game out there, I'll be early pushing him towards that Yakuman.
yeah.
So, like, why
Or
even.
you'll throw the east too late, and then you'll
Yeah,
give
or I'll
him,
throw the East
yeah,
too late. Now, I get lucky here in that now that Season's thrown East, this East is the very safe tile I'd hoped it
yeah,
would be.
yeah,
But that's luck. That's not, I
yeah.
didn't know that at the time.
So Index has a good observation that every hand has a Yakuman chance if you listen to the Japanese casters. I will say, from my observations, I think that they do manifest Yakuman better than we do. But I also wonder because I used to joke about that with Sanshoku. Like, I've been studying Mahjong. They just constantly ranting on about Sanshoku. I'm like, of course, you're going to get a lot of Sanshoku if you keep talking about it. And maybe we're too pessimistic, and therefore we're like, I'm never going to get Yakuman. I'm never going to. And so we don't get the Yakuman, right?
Well, I think it's one of the things that I tell people, at least at the very beginning, when they're just learning, I'm like, don't even think about this.
Yeah.
Because sitting around being hyped for Yakuman and trying to build Yakuman when you're just learning means you're not learning how to build the normal hands, which is really what you
Mm.
need to be focused on at that point. Like, don't even worry about crazy hands. Don't even think about it. But you're right, like, as a caster, you want
Yeah.
to hype things up. And it's
Yeah.
true that, like, the things that you write off in your mind are things you're not going to take into account when you're building your hand.
Mm.
And Yakuman are so rare that if you are straight up saying this won't happen from the beginning of a hand, you will miss a few opportunities.
Yeah. I was about to say, I think that, the pros definitely think more about Yakuman than I would typically, and I suspect a lot of other people would. They're talking about the thing, and they're like, oh, maybe this could be whatever, Daisangen. I'm like, really? You've got like one of each? And let's say you've got two pairs of white and one green and one red, and I wouldn't even think that.
Oh yeah,
But by
I'd be
keeping it in
thinking a little
mind,
bit. I'd be thinking a little bit. If I got two whites, one
uh,
green, one red, I'd be like, mm-hmm.
so maybe I'm the pessimist, but I kind of,
I mean, again,
yeah,
it's like you don't want to lose sight of what you need to do at that point in the hand and in the game.
mm.
But you definitely don't want to sit there and wind up with two greens and two reds in your discard and be like, well, but.
I did once throw a dice again. I had the reds and the whites closed, and I threw the last green dragon, and then of course my next two draws were the green dragons.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so this
Yep.
is a problem, back to
But
my
again, like I
problems,
could see,
back to
like
my.
if it's all last and the rest of your hand is awesome, and you can get into first with it, and you throw those other dragons. You don't reach for the Daisang because you instead reached for the hand you needed to make. That seems rational
Mm.
to me. Like, don't get
Yeah.
too caught up in it that you didn't do what you needed to do. But anyway, so I get this 9. I don't remember what I did here. This is an awkward
So next to the
situation.
6th round, we're waiting for the 6th round, and you have a comment.
Okay, so I cut the 8 out, saying that I probably don't need a pair here, and I hold on to this. I don't know. I don't know if that's good or not, but I take in another. This 7-9 is now a block. 8-8-9 was a block, and I downgraded to 8-9 to hold another whole block. I don't know.
Mm.
I get another 9, and now I'm just gonna cut out. Now I'm thinking of flush. I'm
Mm-mm-mm.
like, this is really trending that way. 1, 2, 3, 4. I would have had 5 pairs also if I'd played this for pairs,
Mm.
but I didn't. And this is the 6th discard. Okay, so now I've committed to the flush. I call the 1, 2, 3, and I'm saying we're just doing this, which
Mm-hmm.
maybe is a little aggressive.
Yeah,
Um,
so Yamai's comment here is it's gonna take a long time to win this hand, and you've got a lot left to cut, and
yeah.
you're going to be defenseless if the Oya does something.
See,
Um,
I don't necessarily feel that way because I have this East, which is very safe, not 100% safe, and 3 hard safes on dealer.
I think in his mind, you probably would have had a green dragon there instead of the East at this point if you'd have played
That's true.
properly.
And then that would have
Um,
been a scary tile if the dealer later got ready.
And his suggestion is that you should have drawn some more tiles,
Just seeing what else
to
came.
see, because not only have you got a flush, but you also had, and you said it yourself, you also had the, you know, the not. So he's also going for full flush. Jesus Christ, he likes. Okay, so again, Yamai's quite
Cheeto
famous
with
for
pair 5.
reaching for the stars. So he's going for full flush or half flush, and also there's obviously that 7 pairs that were still on the
Yeah,
table,
Cheeto is on
and
the
you didn't
table.
have to commit. Like maybe that's an overcommitment here.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
agree. I actually looking at this now in my now, I feel like this is aggressive. This
mm,
is aggressive. For better or worse, I'm definitely
mm.
far from where I need to be with this. And yeah,
And
this is
yeah, and he also says, you could just go for Pinfuri Paycor. Like there's a lot going on here, and by calling now,
I've
it's
locked
his
in. No,
belief
I've entirely locked
that
in.
you're locked in. You're potentially defenseless against the
Okay, you can
dealer.
you can be the voice if you want. You don't have to like you don't have to paraphrase it that it's his belief per se. Like I understand, it's cool.
Oh no, I
Um,
don't. No, he actually says this. I mean, if you ever read again,
oh, he's very
this is
polite
where
about
this
this.
is where if I was properly localizing, I take out all of the potentialities, the maze, and is my view. But the Japanese are very kind of like, I'm not going to push my view on you. There's a
Mm.
bit of a distance they always create. But yeah, if you translate it into English, you're like, you should do this because we don't think like that, right? That's
No, I mean
localization.
I appreciate, and I think it's actually an important thing and something that is valuable that there
Mm,
is kind of in the conversations that I've always had with people about this within the Japanese world. There is like this very healthy respect for the idea that there's not just one way,
mm,
and that they can talk about what they think is good, and that it doesn't mean like you're dumb necessarily. At least when people have
mm.
talked to me, they have been saying like you're dumb, don't ever do that. Or at least I've never done anything that terrible. But yeah, there's a way, and I think his view is probably correct in this case. I would agree with it because I think this call is early. I think this
No
call is
offense to you,
early and
Dave,
too
but he
aggressive.
probably gets better results than you do.
What? Impossible.
What?
Impossible. Yeah, no, I will agree with him. This is early.
So
Cut the 4P
Korak
third.
and Index have some comments here. Korak would have cut the 9 man because there's a 7 man out.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking Chitoy
Cheeto with pair 5,
because you
possibly.
got
Yeah,
5, yeah.
cut the 9 to keep the 8 pair, and then you got 5 pairs Cheeto. That's not a terrible plan.
But
Um,
yeah, Korak's not against the call.
how to commentate
Index would
question.
cut the 4 pin pair over the 8-9. Since there's so Index is thinking about the exit route. Index is in my
Index is in
territory.
Foldsville. The
Yeah.
4-pin pair is a dangerous pair right now, and I bet that what
Yeah.
I do now is just start getting rid of it immediately
Yeah.
because it's early in the game, and I know that if I don't get rid of that 4-pin pair and I want to make it to my flush, I'm going to get tripped up on it later. So I probably am going to get rid of the 4-pin in favor of any overall less hot tile
Mm.
at this point, is what I would hope that my smart pass did. Yeah, how to
Mm.
commentate question more bad plays without self-inserting. That's a tough one.
You know what? I think it's 2 ways though, Chirel. Like, and
Yes, okay.
I think the problem is sometimes when people give you feedback about your game, it can be difficult to accept and hear that feedback. And I've been that person who's been a
Hmm.
bad receiver. And now, yeah, of course, you shouldn't call someone bad like that. But now when someone gives me criticism on my game, I try not to become defensive, and I try to listen, because you need to have that's part of in creating that environment, right? That someone can speak up and give me constructive criticism,
Hmm.
and for them to feel heard by me. Then if I want to give them constructive criticism on their game, they can do the same thing, right? It's always reciprocal.
See,
um hmm,
I find the self insert is actually a good tool for that.
hmm,
In other words, I'll often say something like, "Well, I might have done this," and I
hmm,
feel like when you put it that way, you're already kind of alleviating some of that pressure of what you of the concept of what you did was wrong, because no one
hmm.
wants to hear that. Unless it's like real obvious again, like unless it's straight like you broke the rules here. Okay, yeah, you broke the rules. That's provable. Or unless they do a really dumb play, yeah, that was
Hmm.
wrong. It's very rare you're gonna have that to say to anyone. So a lot of times, at least when I talk to people, I do like to say something like, "Well, I see you did this here. I might have preferred to do it this way, and here's my thinking as to why."
Hmm.
Because it opens the door for the dialogue. Because like that's true. In comedy, you're right. It's different in commentary. It's different in commentary. But yeah,
Commentary is
that
tough.
dialogue's important where they can say, well, I was thinking this. And then now you're comparing your thoughts as opposed to someone telling someone was wrong. But I agree.
Hmm.
Commentary, you're right, is a wildly different beast when you are. Um,
Correct, yeah. You say something with authority and the wall screws you over. The wall
yeah,
is a
yeah.
bitch.
The wall is a bitch. The wall is a horrible bitch. Um, yeah,
I don't know, like people, I hope that people who are having their games commentated know that it's a commentary, right?
yeah,
And you have to
yeah.
do that
No, I've
job, and
had
you
things
can't
that
take
I've
it that
watched where I'm just
seriously.
like, I don't know what they were doing here. I don't understand why this happened.
Mm.
And it's like, what do you say? You can a bit of a wild play here, a bit of a strange move, but we'll see if it works out for them, like stuff like that. So I've gotten rid of these 4 pins, although this 2 mon is not that much better because
I
it's
haven't
right
got
next
any
to the
comments
door.
until your next hand now, so
Oh, Dominic. Okay,
play.
then I'm
Yeah.
chucking 2 pin because it's 2 man because it's dangerous. The word interesting. Dealer calls chi. I get another east, which is actually kind of good for me, because now I have two easts, which are now 2 hard safes in case things do get squirrely. So I've
Yeah.
got a path out that I can also hold. Chun comes out, and this might be my cue. This is my cue to dunk the Chun, and I get my third 9. So see, this is where Yamai's good advice is totally undermined by my dumb luck at
By
drawing the
you
tiles
mean
that I
by the
need. By the
wall?
wall. Yeah, the wall.
The
The
wall
wall makes
screwed.
Yamai's advice about this being overly aggressive look entirely foolish when he's 100% right that this is way too aggressive, and I have no right being in this good of a position right now. Um, and now, and now I'm done.
Mm.
I draw the Dora, and I realize that with 2 calls from the dealer in this type of game, I am not throwing this Dora. This Dora
Mm.
will never leave my hand, and I'm done. And so
Hmm.
out
Hmm.
comes the East. No hesitation on this for me. Thank God. I'm not stupid. Um, the 6 comes out, which makes me a little sad because that does give me at least Suji on the Dora, but I'm just like, no. There's an Yeah, you're right. There is an Itsu route. I would probably try walking over to it if I could, but ugh. And then the dealer wins on the 2 pin, and the dealer was waiting on the 2 pin in the 3 man. Who's a smart guy? And this is where I feel great. This makes me feel great.
You're
You
glad
know?
that your mice saw that, weren't you?
Well, I mean, it makes you feel great when you look and you found out you made the exact right call.
Mm.
I drew the Dora. It was a scary tile. I didn't throw it. It would have destroyed me. Good for me. I dodged the problem because I bailed when I needed to bail. Good feelings. And I don't remember what was in this game, by the way. I'm kind of remembering it as I go. So like, this is not
It's
me.
game from quite far
Yeah,
away
it's
as well, like
quite
a
a while
long
ago.
time
So
ago.
yeah, okay, cool. So I did an aggressive push, but I also successfully shifted gears into getting the heck out of there when something appropriately dangerous happened. Neat.
Mm. Right, next, I'm okay until the fifth round, and then I've got
I
some
just want to
comments
yuck
for you.
and whop around and tend to fold out. Yeah, with more door around, that can be a little bit. Hi, Pesinator. I don't know. I also felt like, I'm like, oh, it's East 1 first hand. Like, it's not so crazy to just get a little pushy and see what you can make out of this. At least in the very first hand of the game when there's no positional play to worry about. But, so what do I think about this hand? I don't love it. When I look at this, what I really see is some kind of Tanyao play, maybe. I do have a space for the Dora, which is cool. I have some extra junk I can toss, which
Mm.
is kind of cool. What's my first? My first draw is a second West, so I might as well follow Haku with Haku. So now I have something. It's not good, but I got something. Here's a 5-pin, so I'll throw this east. Yeah, you missed the Gemma's alcoholism conversation. Hots gets called by Sisan. And here's my 4. Okay, so now I'm looking towards something kind of Tanyaui, I guess. I have 2,
I
4,
like 3,
5,
4,
6,
5
7.
Sanshoku.
3, 4, 3, 4, 5 Sanchoku's possible. So I drop this 9 so. Because I'm thinking now I prefer the 2-4 block to the 8-9 block. And I might as well kind of squiggle my way towards Tanyao if I can.
Correct.
You
Once
want
the
Forest.
the
You
full
want the
bamboo.
second Forest out. Okay, that makes some sense. Okay, so now I have 3, 5, 7, and I'm kind of like, I'm gonna let the 8 so be my pair and get rid of the West, which maybe is silly. Maybe I should be trimming down that 4 so. Maybe I should be, yeah. I'm kind of locking in Tanyao. Throwing out 1 4 so is not a terrible plan because I almost definitely don't need 2 of them. And getting it out early means someone else can't win off of there next to the Dora wait. All right, switch up for 4, 5, 6, 6, 7. So I drop the 2. Okay, nice.
Okay, so this is where he has a comment
on the 2 discard or on another discard.
Yeah, in the 2 discard, he thinks
Okay.
he should just throw in the West
Just finish that motion.
because he said because you got 2, 4, 5, 6, 6, 6, well, 6, 6, 7, right?
2,
6,
4, 5,
6,
6.
7.
Yeah, yeah.
So you could think of it in terms of 2, 4, 6 and 5, 6, 6, 7.
And I guess if I do get the 3, I then am in an even better situation because then I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, which are some great shapes, and I can get rid of some of the uglier shapes around the 3, 5, 7. So that's true. You're right because this again these are like small. I'm glad these aren't like huge. Like what the hell are you doing level problems? But that is a small optimization. By throwing the 2, I really can't take the 3 as easily. I mean, I could if I wanted to turn.
Mahjong Backer just puts it more succinctly.
2
If you by throwing the 2, you lose the ability to use the 3.
And by throwing the West, I lose nothing.
Yeah.
And the 2 and nothing looks particularly dangerous right now. So like stressing out over that is not worth it.
Okay, so the next one is the 10th round. So
okay, so dealer reach. Dealer reach. I throw the 1 because it's hard safe. See you later. I throw the West. I get the 7, so which makes me a little sad that I cut that 9, but such is life. Now what? I am hard following dealer here, so I am out because this hand is too far from ready, and I don't want to mess around. This is the 8th discard, right?
Yeah, the 10th. So this is anyway, this is the one we're talking about, I think. So like he says, obviously you're folding here. And but he suggests that you play the 7 with consideration to the other players.
Ooh.
Do I understand this right? Maybe this isn't the right one.
This can't because this is the 8th discard.
Right, let's go 2 more.
Because the 5 is entirely
But the 5 is hard safe.
Yeah, it's hard safe on literally everyone because of temporary footy 10 as well. So I don't think.
No,
although the 5 is grabbed by this player.
Okay.
9-1. Here's the 7-pin, and I throw the 7-pin again because I'm just as hard safing as possible.
Yeah.
This is what I think he's saying. This must be the one.
Yeah, that's the 5-pin mistake, right? Okay.
Because this 5-pin could be what Season. This is a very micro optimization, but it's very true. This 5-pin is now no longer temporary footy 10 on anyone. So Season, who's discarded no pins at all, and also D-san, who's discarded no pins at all, could actually want this 5-pin.
Sorry, I misread it. I misread it because they're not using the notation that we're used to in the West with the P and so yes, yes. He suggested that you throw the 7-man instead.
7-man or 7-so?
7-so. Sorry, 7-so. Again, I can't read the notation because I'm out practice. 7-so. 7 bamboo.
The 7-so has just come out from D-san. It's temporary for D10 on C-san. It's hard safe on A-san because they didn't take it. So the 7-so is actually the stronger play here, I think. 5p still does risk one of these potential pin flushes from getting, especially because they haven't backed down. So I
Mm.
agree that passing on zero man forces you more towards. Let's go back a little bit. I agree. Like, if I was gonna play, I should have called this. Grab the 5, 6, 7. Just say it's gonna be Tenhou. I'll throw the west. I'll see if I can grab another tile, and make it happen. I thought I'm trying to remember. Did I even think about that, or did I let it go? Um, I think I let it go because I'm sitting here being like, Season's fighting. Well, but Season, we don't know if Season's fighting. Season just threw a south after this, which was very safe. So maybe Season wasn't fighting. Yeah, I think that's a valid question as to should this have been grabbed to push. And I think in my mind I was like, don't be over aggressive. You were just over
Wait,
aggressive
what
last
what are
hand.
you pushing? What are you pushing? I'm sorry.
You push Tenhou Dora 1, and the reason you push Tenhou Dora 1 in this case is, or maybe you hope you get more Dora, but you push it to bump the dealer to get the extra 1,000, so it
No.
becomes 3,300. 3,300 is not a bad score, but I didn't feel like it was really worth it. I was kind of like, I don't know. I was over aggressive last hand and I got away with it somehow, but I don't know if I want to be that way here.
I think if
Also,
it
yeah,
was
cutting the 4 Fs earlier.
if it was a reach from another player, not the dealer, I'd have more sympathy for that view. But it's the
Maybe.
dealer who's reached, and I don't think you can push
Right.
Tanya Outdoor one.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, like
correct. Correct. I like poor bamboo early
four
discard. I'll
bamboo
probably
early
with
is
you on
actually
that.
a good pick that I should have thought of. Exactly, because there's two. I have 3 pairs. I only need one. The main reason I want the 4 bamboo is to accept the 5 so anyway. So cutting that early is actually not a bad plan.
Baka
Um,
makes a good observation as well that these are bad shapes.
yeah, yeah.
They're not
I'm
going anywhere
Ishan 10 though.
fast.
Look at me, I'm Ishan 10. How exciting is that? It's
Mm.
not that exciting. Um, and so now I throw the 5 man. Yeah, I'm just getting the heck out of here. Now that the 8 comes out, I can cut the 8, which is cool. Um, oh man, I cut the Haku. 3 man is now good, so I'm probably gonna. Oh, I cut this 6 man that's already safe. Which is, but here this is maybe awkward because I'm still flirting with Tempai. Because I'm back to
Mm.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I think you've overcommitted to this in your head. I know you've not reached or anything, but
No, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking of going to draw and not wanting to pay 3,000 points. I could be Tempai here, but I'd have to throw. But I don't want to throw the 2 or 4 so ever, if I can help it. Because there's
yeah. So
still
if you're
wild
Tampa, you're gonna
dangers.
have to throw one of those.
But now the player across throws 2 so.
Okay. So
And so
now you
now I
immediately
call
throw
the
it,
2, 3, 4
right?
and throw the 2 so. So now
Okay.
I'm Tempai. With safe tiles, I can still. Okay, all right, look at me not being the dumbest. So I got
Okay. Fair
myself
enough.
to Tempai. The Dora comes out from. Uh, what's his face? Yeah, like I'm trying to avoid massive risk here. East is very safe, so I get rid of the east. And I only have one more thing. I have last tile, which is 7 man, which is safe. So I get away with being Tempai.
Can I
Um,
go grab some water? Because, you know,
if you got it, I mean, if you
I
got it,
need to hydrate after
if you
last
got it.
night. I'll be back in two
Okay,
seconds.
hold on. We're gonna let Gemma grab some water. This is an interesting deal. The dealer reaches on 3 pin only. We find out, but they have Dora 3, so it would be another dealer Mongon. Our player to the right, man, I don't know what they were doing because they weren't even Tempai. Um, I'm not sure. I guess I gave them basically no pins to work with. No, I gave them
I'm back. I'm hydrating.
no. This was a hand that I can call myself vaguely smart because I
Vaguely
did walk
smart.
this hand. I did walk this hand to Tempai very carefully. Um, Hydro dealing. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm at the call. Let's